I'm not sure how many seals there are in the area. That'd have to be a question for Steph, because he does do a good amount of research with them. Like I mentioned earlier, at the weir, that's sort of an area that they congregate there and bask in the sun. So this is just, I think, from what I've observed, in other areas and stuff. I don't think they. I guess you can say they live in groups. They kind of congregate in areas. When you see a seal, you always seem to see quite a few of them. The ones here in the estuary right now, I haven't seen two together yet. You see one head poke up here and bobbing around, and you see another one in another area. So I don't know if they actually, when they're out, say in the water and hunting and stuff, I'm not sure if they team up unless obviously there's a whole pile of fish in the area that they're all eating at. Then they'd all be together, I guess. But no, I don't know. You always just see them sunbathing together. I'm not sure if they work in teams or groups. That's for sure something that I can look into and let you guys know. Uh, Too bad Stefan wasn't still here. He was our guest, Dr. Stefan Peterson from the Assiniboine Conservancy in Winnipeg. So he was up for about a week, and he had a camera. He actually showed me some of the footage that they fix to the bottom of a kayak and then head out on the water and get some video. And he uses that video as a part of his research. And it's like a 360 camera, so he's able to get shots basically 360 degrees and kind of all around you. It's a pretty neat little unit. As far as I know, they can. We just had a question about the pods, if they all have their own language or if they can understand each other. The beluga whales, I know they're unique. They have kind of the most vocalizations apart from other species of whale. They say they have like over 100 different vocalizations, and I'm told there's 12 that are most commonly used amongst them. So I'm quite sure, yeah, they're able to understand each other. But it's pretty cool. They're also known in like aquariums and things like that. They're able to somewhat mimic even human sounds. So they're pretty unique in that aspect. There's a guy, his name's John Lilly, and he's a pretty interesting character. He's one of the guys that invented the sensory deprivation tank. He did a lot of research with animals, I think, and stuff like that as well. One of the things he did was he wanted to attempt to train dolphins to speak English, I guess, to communicate with people. And there's an interesting podcast. It's called Radiolab, and I'm trying to think what the dolphin that episode is called. If you Google just John Lilly and Radiolab, I'm sure that podcast will pop up. But it's just kind of a interesting story about him and how he had a lady who lived in a tank with a dolphin, or I think it was just one dolphin for, I believe it was months. And she slept in there. She did everything. She never left the tank. Obviously, her bed was kind of up above the water level, but yep, she was with that thing for 24 hours a day. The dolphins, they lack the ability to ever speak the way we do, so it wasn't successful. But it's kind of interesting hearing her talk about it and how the dolphin was sort of making attempts to mimic our sounds. Radiolab all around too. I listen to a lot of podcasts, and Radiolab is one that I really enjoy. It's kind of it's a science-based podcast, and they cover a very wide variety of topics. And the podcast is just done really well. It's extremely informative, and it's super interesting. I urge you to check it out. There's kind of something on there for everybody. No, we got a visitor. I lost in my thoughts there for a moment. So yeah, I'd love to hear a little bit, guys, if you're... I kind of got the camera aimed over at the prop. This whale that's behind me now is sort of lingering in that area, and I'm just curious to see if the camera's in the right position, so feel free to give me a heads up on that one. I've been trying to be more conscious about the underwater camera and moving it around, and so you guys can get a good look at the whales. Lots of things going on the boat here. I'm gonna head back here towards the port. I can see a good amount of whales out there, out in front of the port, so kind of right in front of the gallery, which, if you've seen the port, is the large rusty metal structure that's I believe it's about 21 or 23 meters high. Oh, I'm getting a close-up here. It's been a fantastic morning out here on the water today. We've been having lots of fun out here with the whales. We've been getting lots of action. Got to see a bit of feeding behavior. They've been really curious, spending a lot of time with us, following us around on the boat here. Just all around, yeah, it's been an awesome morning to be out on the water. So it seems like we're kind of starting to get into a bit of a group here. Hey, well, Tom, someone just joining us here now. Welcome to the Beluga Cam. Let's see, we got another link here about John Lilly. I'll have to take a look at that when I get back. Just a little bit that I had heard about him, and then some other podcasts and things I listened to kind of got me curious about the sensory deprivation tank, and I did get to try one once before, and they're definitely interesting. If you don't know what they are, it's meant to basically strip you of all your senses, so your sense of sight, hearing, feeling, like everything. It's a big tank that's soundproofed and pitch black, and it's filled with water. And the air, they're both the same temperature as the surface of your skin, so you can't really differentiate between the two. And it's filled with it's basically saturated with Epsom salts, which makes it very buoyant. So while you're lying in there, you're completely suspended in the water, and your brain starts to behave weird because it's like I said, you're stripped of all your senses, so you're not even sure which way is up or down, and it's a pretty interesting experience. A lot of people use it for meditation. Oh, I can see another little calf up on our side here. We'll see if we can get him in the camera if they're interested. What's kind of neat to think is we're getting a lot of these calves, we're getting to see them on camera, and years down the road we might be seeing them as juveniles, and then maybe one day as an adult if they continue to come back to the estuary. They say today's sure been a easy day out in the water here. We haven't had to go looking too far to find the whales. They're just very plentiful this morning. Couple cruising up here pretty quick, coming to check us out. We've got another juvie. I'm not sure if he's gonna come by, but you might be able to see in the on deck cam. He's got quite a scar on his back. So we're getting to see a lot of good examples today. Hopefully you guys are seeing them in the camera of what they're looking for with the Beluga Bits program. So all these scars and marks and things on these whales are exactly what Stefan's looking for, and it really helps him to identify the whales. And then next year, if we one just came by checking out the camera, or in the following years, he can go back in the database and compare photos and scars, and he can tell what whales and how many are coming back to the bay each year, or coming back to the estuary, I mean. The one swimming alongside us now has got quite a scar as well. So far, all the ones that we've been seeing here today, though, are all healed up. They all look like they're old wounds, and yeah, they've healed up nicely. We're in the middle of it now. We're kind of surrounded right now. Wow, yeah, you may have got that one there on the above deck cam. That would have been a perfect shot of that whale. He came to surface right in front of the boat here, and he's got a very large scar right on his back behind the dorsal ridge, in between there and his tail. Oh, we got a real tiny little calf. Quite a mix today. Gotta try to Man, we're killing it today with the photos. Thanks everybody for, you guys are all on the ball. It's tough with all these All these whales all over the place. I'm not even sure which way to look. But you guys are definitely getting some fantastic shots here. Group of juvies here. We got a group cruising pretty good coming at us now.